Hello, people. I was counting you in. I can hear me though. Because they can hear me. Hello, everyone, on our starting screen. No, we're still not there. Oh man, now they can't. Okay.
Oh wow.
Now they can see us. And
Hello.
they're follower goal.
Can they hear us?
Oh yeah.
Oh, hello everybody. For the third time, not that you would know because I was muted. Welcome to the Assorted Adventures live stream. This is the talkback show where we talk about the D&D one-shot adventure we went on Tuesday at this 5:30 CST. Or whatever time that translates to for you. We do a fully improvised one-shot session where we roll a wheel 3 times, and from that we create the world, the lore, and the plot. If that sounds interesting and you just stopped by, drop a follow so you'll get notified when we go live. But now we're just going to talk about our thought process about how we craft a random one-shot. It could be pretty useful for you. You ever on a plane? You're like, hey, bud, you want to do a quick one-shot? And you're like, oh my god, I have nothing planned. And you're like, ah, yes, James and Sergio, they told me what to do. That's what we're here for today.
I think it's also pretty applicable just to general DMing. If you can never really know what your players want to do. If they suddenly want to go to like a cannery and you're like, I don't even know what a cannery is. You do a quick Google search, you follow our tips, boom, now you have something going on there.
I frequently, Google's your best friend whenever you're like, what the fuck? What did they just ask for? And then Google them reference images. That's the #1 pro tip. Google reference images to describe stuff.
That's actually, that's not bad. You said to do that. Now I'm kind of been converted.
I do that all the time because I have trouble visually describing stuff without being able to see it. So that's always really helpful, which is a struggle on stream.
Regardless, like the time an artist has poured into making a good design, at least like a good artist, like that design will be almost for sure better than anything you could think of in the moment. Like there'll be contrasting elements and like pieces of intrigue all over. So like you have a lot to work with if you take a variety of inspirations, even just from like photographs. You'll just like get some details you probably wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about this before, but even just having shorthand to give to your player, like, oh, it is like this, it is like this, it's the Candy Kingdom from Adventure Time, but different. And like even that is just incredibly helpful for your players to do. But this is not improv or one shot, but I just thought about it for the campaign I have with the kids that I volunteer with. Excuse me. Whenever I'm like designing a city, I have a ton of different reference images that I'm just like throwing and combining in a folder, and I'm just gonna share it with them and be like, all right, I'll describe it as well, but here's this because it'll probably help you out. And that's just I find really helpful.
Just send it to, or just stick it on a computer?
I just have a doc open with just the images. Yeah. But also I designed a really weird city that needed that much in-depth description.
You have the overhanging cities of years. What up?
Do I describe the city? I don't know what that is.
You want to give your description?
It's this tri-level, partially underwater city where it's at the top, like these like sheer mountain cliffs. There are these weird, I don't remember where they are, but there are these weird like hexagonal shaped rocks. What?
Bees.
No, hexagonal shaped rocks. Like they very much look geometric, just like peering up, just like different little pillars that combine. So it's like that is the description of these mountains going down, connected by these like thick rope bridges and waterfall pouring down. And there are these three, it is a city of more intelligent based classes. So there's artificers, wizards, and clerics, which I think are all wisdom or intelligence based. And it's like 3 levels. At the bottom most in deep level, it is like the original old like Japanese aesthetic city that got flooded, so it's really nice but just covered in like different algae and moss and stuff, and that's where the wizards are. And they're like, with their wizarding magic, there's just like walls of what looks like glass would be moving the water away so people could walk, but it's just like flowing water if you could touch it. And then like next up level, it is druids are also like the next up level, where it's like they're using their different wild shape to like get around through the water and the land and area. And then up top are like the clerics and the artificers.
There's still water even above?
No, there's not. Like on the upper levels, it's dry. I mean, there's still like rain and stuff, but
what's the top level?
It's like where the modern day like ruling class is located, which is more clerics and artificers.
Assholes.
Yep.
No one likes a cleric.
I've never played a cleric. I have no desire to. Haven't you?
We got small? Why are we small in the frame now?
We small.
Now we're big in the frame?
While James works on that, I will continue to rant about.
It was promptly fixed.
Oh, never mind. No more ranting needed. So what did we do last time?
Wait, what are the aesthetic?
Tuesday?
You said the bottom one was like Japanese, and the other two didn't get.
Oh, it's all Japanese architecture, but it is just the whole lore behind the city. It was like a beautiful palace that was built, and then it was flooded. So it's just really nice that Chinese or Japanese architecture. Sorry.
Racing.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I'm tired. I got so little sleep. And it's pretty much the same through and through, just like different wear and tear based on the weather.
Gotcha.
Yes. What did we do last on Tuesday?
How many times have you reused that world? You fucking...
Never.
Actually, that's not Candyland. Wait, yeah, why'd you switch
The
it
new
up?
world.
And then we'll talk about Tuesday.
Yeah. Not that I get bored. The one that I most want to do is Somnium. Like that is my strongest, deepest desire of what I want. The kids wanted like a serious location, and I was tired of European typical D&D shit. And I was like, oh, why not spice it up? And so I have my 3 levels of. I have all my literature on Japanese architecture, history, and then a random, not based on Chinese, Hayao Miyazaki Spirited Away art book to inspire me. What?
Chinese?
Yeah, Chinese architecture is what the theme park is based off of, from what I read.
In Spirited Away.
Yeah, in Spirited Away. This is more.
Oh, interesting.
At least that's what I read.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it looks like it.
Yeah, it gives me because the place in Spirited Away gives me Chinatown vibes, where it's like made by American like business people and not actual
you know that Miyazaki, American business mogul.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to reference the, but it doesn't exist yet.
Podcast.
Great. Yeah. So Tuesday, courtesy of a viewer, Robert, we got one of the prompts that we were pre-given was intergalactic, and he gave us some additional lore behind that stuff. And then we also rolled, which I completely ignored. You are the monster, and what was the last one, James? Help me out here. I didn't use it, so you probably don't remember.
Yeah, I can't even.
The point is, I didn't do it. I did not do them. I failed on my part as a DM. And I think part of the reason why is simply that I love the prompt. It was super great, but the specification in it, I wanted to adhere to that, I think, too much. And as a result, I kind of didn't listen to the others. I also just forgot. Like when I was in the moment there.
Did you have any intention at any point to incorporate them?
If I could remember the other one, maybe. I don't know why I didn't. Yeah, it was weird.
Go check for us.
I also, what was that?
I'll go check for us. But yeah, I haven't written them down.
We just were also in a time crunch. It felt like. I don't know why we streamed for a long time. I don't know why I felt like such a time crunch. There was just so much buildup and setup to a world that, props to Robert, very in-depth lore that I tried to adhere to. So there just was a lot to set up. And then also you spent a good chunk of time with my favorite character, a man named Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah.
Hey, Jerry.
I for sure never accounted for Jerry. You want to talk about your PC throwing some shit at you? That's James.
Oh,
That's just
the that you had introduced this family of mine, and all I wanted to do was go out into the city, blow off school, just go hang out with Jerry. I didn't think Jerry was like a 45-year-old janitor, but I like it.
Yeah, I know. I was for sure. I was like, I can't think of like a bro dude that you would hang out with. Your character seemed so weird up to that point that I was like, I don't know if you have like a normal friend
That's fair.
there. Yeah. I did not know he was a janitor either. I don't know where that came from. It was the weirdest. That's
Where in your psyche that belongs.
Yeah, there's your pro DM tip. Let the smallest of details influence the entirety of the character. I think it was the first thing that set off, because he was weird about
Nature
cleaning.
survival. I finally found it.
Yes. I was planning on doing that. What the whole adventure was going to be. What's up?
My phone falling over. Did you hear it?
No, I did not.
I guess because I have Discord audio, whatever.
That's nice. What I was going to use all of it. I do remember now. It was going to be start out an adventure. I wanted the flashback always, which now thinking about it, I think mostly useless. Didn't really provide anything. Had to start
Flashback to being a babby. Yeah. Probably could have just been like, oh yeah, you're good at magic. I mean, it's not bad.
That wasn't the point. That's not what I want. I wanted the point. I wanted to be more dramatic that you chose, or like that you got
to eat this thing.
No, fuck no, not that. Although
So
that
you gotta plan around.
I was thinking in my head it would be more of an important setup because there are like these main elemental people, they have their powers, and I wanted like the void and the whatever star power to be more weird and unique. And it was notable that your character did not follow their traditional path of being an air elemental. So I was hoping that
how was that gonna be portrayed? Curious.
Well, I guess that got in like 3/4 of the way when you were talking to that the general guy about how weird your powers were and abilities were. That happened a bit late.
Oh no, I just meant with the backstory, because I felt like it was just like, oh, I thought it was more they were impressed that I had magical abilities at all. They were like, oh, sick.
Nah. No, they weren't impressed. I mean, they were because you're a kid and they're your parents, but
what, they were happy that I was using, but I could only use air. I was an air genasi.
Yeah, I know. That was the point, I guess, to like set up that you were an air genasi and like these powers. Although I guess I could have just skipped it with
that worked fine. Yeah, no, that was all fine. The unusuality was well communicated. Sorry. Okay. Definitely.
That was what I wanted to, so I guess good enough.
Was that the monster? Is that being a monster is being different? Is that the commentary you're making? That you are a monster prompt?
No, I think it was. That would have been good. No, that was different. So what it was going to be is that set up your backstory, your character, get some weird powers on your way to the academy, go to the academy, get inducted, then, which I guess that's a lot of setup for. I believe that could take like 2 hours. That's fine. And then the rest would have been as per Robert's recommendation. A like trek to like some temple to unlock your powers and combine it, and that would have been the survival wilderness part, stretching the wilderness part to the max.
For sure. I'm just like, now all the time I'm just gonna like in machina res, in media res, not machina res, just like take all 3 prompts. You're doing this thing already. Like, I feel like setup has screwed us so many times. I mean, it's like good, but
I don't think it has. I think I mostly just forgot.
It seems like I guess if that was your plan, yeah.
Well, maybe. It was also just time. I couldn't, once I set stuff up, I couldn't just like, all right, you're in the fucking wilderness now, kid.
I think you kind of can if the train just like, if I go into that room with the void creature and then suddenly it teleports me. That's my tip for all the DMs. You have ultimate flexibility. If you're ever like, you have a plan.
Yeah, you don't have these 3 prompts.
Yeah, well, I think even if you like, especially if you have the 3 prompts, like if you know, I need my players by the end of today because they've been slacking off and I need something interesting to happen. I need them to meet Garfield, the talking cat, who will tell them about the lasagna prince. Like they
Real
need to do
character
that.
I played in D&D.
They need to do that, but like right now they're so freaking like enamored with this cannery. They really just want canned beans or something. I don't know what world this is that you're DMing. Weird DMing world, but they like really want to go to the cannery, and you're like, actually Garfield is whatever, like some, I don't know, you have some personality laid out for him where he's like a business worker, some like a desk job worker, and like talks about 9 to 5 and Mondays or something. So then like I think either if you really want to keep that, if you think that's like an important trait to keep, then you need to just like make up some kind of office space on top of the cannery that they have to like walk through to get there, and so now they're like forced into an interaction. Or you can always be flexible and be like, okay, now Garfield's actually like a factory line worker and just like puts beans in a can, and then they're gonna meet him that way. But I feel like you just like need to take whatever you have planned and always kind of tweak it to fit whatever the players want to do in pretty significant ways, as long as you want to get to that stuff.
Yeah, I think I was, to Robert's credit, I was more interested in like that whole setup.
Oh, definitely.
Than I was on Wilderness Adventure. And then
I guess
combined with just forgetting.
You dropped me out of the vacuum at the academy. That was a pretty good move.
That was 100%. All right, let's get this shit on the road. But while still being fun, I was prepared to let your character. I thought you would win the belt. I did not know you were gonna lose. Which also, that was fun. I really enjoyed that whole
I was kind of pissed. I felt like I should have won easily.
Why?
Because I think I had enough magic. What did I do before? Was there something I tried doing before the...
No, you didn't. You just fucking took every hit. I was like, wow, James really isn't gonna...
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna take the hits and then I was gonna use my cheat thing. I guess I was just pissed that I couldn't exit my bottle.
I stand by that 100%. You can't cast, if you cast a spell inside of that weird interspace dimension, it happens.
You made that rule up. That's not the actual rule, so that's why I was pissed.
I don't think it's specified. It didn't say that you can't. So I did choose. There's your other tip. Take power, DM, if you can't. I don't know. I think it said bonus action. I'm looking it up. That does not mean that you can cast a spell within the gem and have it affect the outside world.
No, I never wanted that. I said I want to use the bonus action to leave it, then cast the spell.
No, I did not. I don't think I remember that. Maybe I misheard that.
Wait, Warlock Genie. Oh, it's not called Genie. Whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's a miscommunication then. Miscomms.
Very possible. There's a lot going through my head when that shit happens. Only half paying attention to what's going on.
Ended up at the school.
Yeah. That was very much like you said. There's a Garfield hat shop under the cannery. Whatever you said. That was one of those situations.
Yeah, that was fine though. Actually, it worked well enough.
It felt cheap, but I was like, I don't care.
No, I don't know. I mean, it's like the vacuums were at the academy.
Which so makes sense because he used to work there, which also weird.
Yeah, see, that was all tied together. No, that was actually a good. Yes, well, then I guess it was just like adapting the plan so that if you really wanted nature survival and you are the monster.
Yeah, true. If I did want that, it could have been like you're taken to like oh, that would have been cool, like a trash. Oh fuck, what happens like in the trash, like at the very bottom of the city where there's just shit's there to grow. Oh, that would have been cool. Fuck.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking at all. But yeah, that would be pretty cool if it's like I get turned into some kind of demon down there, and then also have to survive. I was just thinking if somehow, okay, so if the school test was like the tuning exams or like the Hunger Games or something, if that was the nature survival, if there was like a whole, if that space was more filled out or something, or like longer, I don't know about you are the monster. Basically, at any point you could have done you are the monster because you could just be like, oh, the void thing does a thing, and now you're a scary void monster.
Yeah. Yeah. What'd you think of
what do you feel? Do you feel regrets, or are you just like, whatever? I'm curious your thinking. I mean, obviously you hit the like most important one, and it's also kind of a weird session because that one had so much more detail than usual. So maybe that's not really a fair comparison, because usually it's 3 equal weighted prompts, but this was not that.
Yeah, it is weird how much the line is, because you are right. As much as you are a fucking terrifying person, James, who enjoys the chaos of the wheel, you are right in that it does help you creatively narrow down what you're gonna do, which is great. Like, creative constraints can be really helpful, but then on the too far end of that side is like too many descriptions that really just confine.
Yeah, what was the one I kind of fucked up? The Animal Crossing, Subnautica.
Yeah, that one wasn't. It was Subnautica.
Third one that I didn't do.
I think that was because I fucked with you more. I just wasn't doing what you were expecting. I
think the Animal Crossing really only made it as the backstory of the world, which is like these little underwater pods of community, which is like not. That's a pretty subtle Animal Crossing inspiration. Can't even remember what the other one was. Maybe that one was a little better. Something about experimenting. I don't know, but. Yeah, that one was really like Subnautica.
I don't remember what the third prompt was. Oh, I think it was something I liked. Star Wars? Yeah, it was Animal Crossing and Star Wars.
Really? Are you checking that, or are you remembering? That seems insane.
I'm remembering that because I was like, because I edited the thing. I was like, oh, we got 2 good ones. And I was like, oh, fuck, no, just 1 good one. Rip Animal Crossing. I hate it.
Star Wars.
Or I'm thinking of maybe something else I enjoyed. I don't remember.
I have no idea.
We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, but that's also pretty unique to us. Most people probably won't be. Although, I mean, again, like with the Garfield thing, you'll pretty much always have to DM with constraints, because you'll have built a world and you'll have a direction you want your PCs to go. Unless you're insane, unless you do every single thing completely.
Oh yeah, just isolated, like us.
Yeah, well, I mean, we even have our prompts. Yeah, unless you literally have no plans whatsoever.
Which, that sounds daunting. That sounds, to not have prompts, you're right, James, that sounds fucking awful.
Yeah, I think you just hope in that case that your player will give you something to work with. But yeah, nothing. Yeah, well, I feel like you gotta have plans. I don't know if you can DM well without plans.
I think it depends on what you want to do, and who your player is. Like, what kind of game does your player want to have? Like a very linear adventure story, or do they just want to like explore a single town and just get into hijinks, and they're comfortable with you just completely making shit up and then exploring what's fun?
I guess it just depends how good you are at faking tie-ins at the end, but I feel like you can't have a
because
really
that's just a different style of DMing.
Connected though.
Yeah, I've talked to Gab about this, like a previous, or maybe a current DM she still has. It's just like a bunch of little
episodes of
self-contained. Yeah, yes.
But even like there's recurring characters and there's themes, and the Ice King always kidnaps princesses, and Finn always has a hard-on for PB.
I think hers was different, and that not too Adventure Time.
Probably because Adventure Time has a ton of recurring themes and stuff, even in the early episodes. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Would you enjoy that?
Where nothing is connected?
I think I could, especially if it's just a one shot.
Nothing matters.
Nothing matters. What are you talking about?
Because like if nothing ever comes back, even just stuff coming, there's also saying tie-ins, even just stuff coming back, so nothing you do ever makes any meaningful difference on the world. Because that's kind of like, if you're never
tying. That's not a tie-in.
Yeah, it is tie-in. It's tying something that happened before into what's happening.
That's just an awareness of cause and effect.
Yeah, so if you have a good awareness of cause and effect, a good ability to write these tie-ins and like have meaningful impacts from what happened before, then of course who knows, what does it matter to the player if you wrote all these tie-ins ahead of time, or if you're completely improving them? You'll probably have to end up improving them anyway in D&D, because players will do so much weird stuff. So as long as you're good at that, then I guess it's fine. I don't think you could have like a truly, of course you could, I don't know if I'd like a truly disconnected world. I mean, it would basically just be a bunch of it would basically just be our one shots, but for some reason you're calling them like one cohesive campaign.
Yeah.
It'd be like a bunch of stories that had nothing to do with each other.
Which I would love to have each of our worlds that we make be its own campaign for somebody. That would be awesome.
The Assorted Adventures cinematic universe.
Yeah. I feel like most of them have been...
There should be a crossover or like Blast from the Past. We should have a prompt where you like...
Worlds collide.
Yeah,
different
worlds
universes
collide.
Come together.
Man, who would you...
Yeah, I'd love. Who would you want to? I guess we each pick. Who's your favorite character that you play?
Bring him back.
I genuinely can't even think of who I played.
Had my ghost.
For sure, not any of the beginning ones.
Not your barge.
Yes, I would love. I don't think I would enjoy playing him. But I would love to. Yeah,
he's like trying to find his way back through the multiverse to get home. He ends up in.
I would love to play him.
What if he was an NPC? So like he's shows up because he's going through the multiverse. Do you remember any of your other characters?
I really don't. Who did I play last time? I don't even know who I played.
Well, you did for the Animal Crossing one. There's that guy, but the one before or the one after that. The one last week was the dad narration one.
I liked him a lot, like a lot.
He goes into his memories and he gets lost in the story verse.
Yeah, he's for sure one of the favorite characters I've ever played. Also, it was just God. I wish the shitty camera quality and all that wasn't so bad, so I could take more shorts from that. But he was really fun to be. That is the most asshole-ish I've ever felt, especially because most of my interactions were with my daughter, and it was just so harsh to be so critical of her and just be an utter shitty father.
You did it well. It came naturally.
Fuck, goddamn it. Joy. I'd say that's helpful for my own, as somebody who would like to one day be a father.
We'll just do a bunch of, in preparation, we'll do a bunch of parenting D&D one-shots.
Yeah, that would be good. Anything you want to achieve, James, that I need to put into
Parenting
a world?
would be a good prompt. Having work-life balance. See, that's why I always want my characters to relax. I want a relaxing Animal Crossing campaign. I just want to walk around and talk to people.
What's the closest we've gotten to that?
The wine one was...
Oh, I like that one too. Yeah.
I can't remember. Oh, I was the
You were
player.
good.
No, I was the DM. No.
No, you were the old man. You
I
were
was the player. I couldn't remember.
Your character was great. He almost made me cry. It was
He's a fun one. I don't know if he'd just be like an old woman Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle or something. I feel like he wouldn't be that impactful on a. I don't know if I'd want to play as him or have him as an NPC. Either of those.
I would love to see him and the dad interact. Just like parenting advice. That would be good.
That's good. Yeah, we had these old father figures recently.
Yeah, what's up, James? What are we dads?
Your undying or not undying character, decidedly not undying character trying to break into the facility. Your frog person, your little frog girl.
Nope, have zero desire to return to any of that. Sorry, James.
Yeah, okay.
Sad. We should have continued that compilation of all of our characters. I can't remember any of them now.
Well, yeah, probably go back and do it
one day when we get done. Oh yeah, true. I forgot we have all the clips.
I would be very curious, for anybody. We had this spreadsheet of our characters when we were first starting out. It was like the world and the character and what we considered to be their traits, like alignment, maybe something about their personality, like if they're an asshole or really kind or whatever, just like one word. And then their arc, like what motivated them. Was it internal, like something just like they want power? Was it external, like they wanted to help other people? Was it like moral, like some kind of higher, greater cause? and we were like assembling. I can't for a
I
while
love the way
there.
that you labeled these: de facto alignment, motivator, motive category.
Oh, you pulled it up? Yeah, I remember
Yeah, I
that
found
you
it.
at the start you were doing all your characters are basically was it?
Just asshole. It
Yeah,
wasn't.
like inter-motivated asshole, I think.
Yeah.
You've been nice recently.
I wasn't. Have I?
Or the not nice, better at connecting with people, I think. I think the issue was your guy wasn't. I think I remember you were an asshole who didn't connect with anyone. Like you were an asshole because you didn't care about anyone around you, but the dad definitely cared about the daughter, just in his own bad way.
Really shitty way. Yeah.
I think maybe not asshole, just uncaring.
Yeah, really apathetic in terms
Yeah.
of. Oh, I like your Groundhog Day guy. I'm just looking at what we have now.
She would be. Well, the issue is, especially now, since I don't remember the characters that well, they would just be like caricatures of their past selves. So for her, it would be, if you go check out our TikTok or YouTube, like the notorious clip. Actually, is that clipped? Where I'm like,
It is.
fuck you, you're dead to me. Like, no, maybe not. It's just me being pissed, I think. Oh no, I guess I do say like that's the fucking stupidest thing I've ever heard or something
Yeah,
like
that's funny.
that. But I think it would just be her like immediately writing off people as idiots the second they say something wrong. Like that's how I would play that character now.
Yeah. Who's your favorite character that you played? I think mine was Dad so far.
The wine dude was nice. I also felt like the accent was like spot on. I feel like that always adds a level of like confidence and like competence as well. Like when you like feel like you really embody the character and it's like a natural way of speaking.
It was a good. I love my Thanos voice a lot.
Yeah, no, that one was also. You were very. I mean, you just were like Thanos' dad. It's like I could just see you as like this big, bulky, whatever, rough and tough asshole boomer dad.
Good. That's perfect.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. But that's probably a recency bias for sure. I did like my emo Assassin's Creed kid a lot.
He was very funny.
He could be fun to play again, maybe. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of like people who were like trapped in weird magical multi-dimensional scenarios. There's a lot of opportunity here for some, because he's like trapped
that's
in that.
my theme as a DM. That's just what I do.
He's trapped in that world. Whatever her face was trapped in the looping. I mean, she got out by the end, but she could like get pulled back in. There's a lot of just like opportunity for very in-world reasons for these people to get pulled into the multiverse.
Yeah, Purgatory would be super easy.
Purgatory's incredibly easy. A bit harder ones, the Ghost from a couple weeks ago. Ghost hunting. Ghost daughter.
Oh, I like that one. I don't remember too much about your character, but I just like the whole.
He has a fun one for sure.
I liked you. No. I loved the first 10 minutes. It's one of my favorite 10 minutes ever, where it's just super nice and chill.
Oh, I'm like talking to the guards and stuff. I forgot I wanted to be a nice character. Yeah.
Yeah, cute text with your in-game boyfriend, and then the Mrs. Lee.
Oh yeah. And she turned into a fuck. I was thinking about clocking her, and I was like, no, I'm nice. Start beating up this old lady.
Yeah. Oh, and then you had a sweet ending. You saved a girl from.
I have not played a caster role in like 3 months. I'm basically always wizard. I was warlock this most recent one.
I think I've been prompting you to do that a lot. Like we did wizarding school. We did this last one. I feel like the one before, I don't remember why, but I remember it was also.
Even the ghost, I was a pretty high level caster. I was a sorcerer.
Yeah, I don't know why I think I told you to pick that.
Well, yeah, I think, yeah, maybe you're also leaning into it. I'm definitely making a conscious decision because the other classes are all horrible. Especially, okay, for the context of a one shot, also kind of D&D in general, like the intrigue of having like an array of 20 spells that you can choose from that do all these varying effects and can be used in all these different situations versus like a weapon that does a lot of damage on hit and like two abilities to make it easier to hit the enemy.
It's also, I noticed that we have stopped, for better or for worse, we have stopped using class as an unofficial prompt. I remember at the start we were doing that a bit, like with our warlock adventure with what I mistook for a symbiote that I tried putting on.
Yeah, we pretty much ignore class now.
Yeah, that could be, well, I mean, I guess I reverse.
Oh, bring back freaking Valhalla Queen Ithorna.
Oh, I would love to see the after the what's that called?
Aftermath?
Epilogue.
Oh.
Of her.
What happened? Oh, she rallied the troops. She killed the demon. Let's just do a bunch of epilogues.
She was scared of them.
End of the year, New Year's stream. Epilogue each campaign.
Yeah, just a quick 10-minute for each one.
Yeah.
That'd be cute. That would be a cute end of the year thing, actually, for all of the. That would take forever, depending on if we only did like 3 months.
24-hour stream.
Yeah. Oh God. God, imagine going back to all those characters and just having to revert back. That'd be so hard. Man. What else happened in this adventure? What are we talking about?
The accents. In this adventure.
Seriously.
I mean, we definitely got a My Hero Academia duel scene.
That is exactly what was going through my head. I was planning on, you gravitated towards that character way more. Also, your character was just, it's hard to clock a vibe on him. I'm still not sure what his whole deal was.
Yeah, he was definitely like, he never came to fruition. I imagine like this NPC who just like comes up and they're like always smiling and they like love gambling and they just have this like,
that.
And they just have this like, and they seem very like powerful and mysterious and they have like all this mystery and mystique about them and they're like dressed all fancifully. Like I have this image here that I sent you in Discord. I guess, can I pull it on screen? I bet I can just like yeet this into my Streamlabs. Let's see.
Oh, of the
of this Void Genasi.
Yeah, they look dope.
Oh,
how did that inspire? I mean, like,
well,
what personality do I see when I see this image?
Yeah, what do you see?
Mysterious, brooding, a little hot. Those are the 3 adjectives.
Brooding. Actually, I guess I don't see the smiling as much. Yeah, well, anyway. I think, yeah, just like had this character in mind who's like that mysterious whatever NPC, but I think the issue is like that works very well for an NPC. It doesn't have as much depth, but you'd need to flesh them out to really be a good character. But yeah, I was like, I'll be all kind of mysterious and like aloof and just go with the flow and be very like, oh yeah, just go where the breeze takes me.
Maybe that's why, like, the aloof, not really caring is why I disliked my past characters that I played, because they were all pretty just like whatever with the world.
Yeah, but not aloof towards people. That was a very intentional note, is my character was not aloof towards people. They definitely actively sought out connections with people. They went to the school to please their parents. They wanted to go see Jerry and talk to them, say like them, and then actively approaching people at the academy. Like, I think you, especially for one-shots, being aloof is horrible towards people. Being like a misanthrope, like a hermit, is just like, unless you have some really compelling other thing.
Get that character growth, like in Purgatory with that guy who is the definition of.
Guess so. Yeah, you had your little purgatory people. I don't know what they count as though. It's like semi-sentient.
Yeah.
I guess they're kind of like animal friends, maybe.
And they're mostly utility.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess he cried for one of them.
Yeah. No, he cared about them. He definitely cared about them.
Did they care about him though?
I don't know if they don't think they can in canon.
Sad. His life is so sad.
Yeah, but I don't think he's ever, it's not like he was a misanthrope. He didn't intentionally stay away from people. He just didn't have anyone to, and even the small people he did have, he clinged to. So I think it's more like, I definitely just think of your warlock person who like didn't give a shit about his 2 helper people.
Yeah. That was. I feel like that could be played way better though.
Or I guess, oh, like,
Well, I
yeah.
guess being a dick is different from not caring.
Yeah, no, because that's like your dad character last week was dick but cared. Which I think is like a nice. That's something that, because then it's like you have a reason to continue talking to someone. But if you just don't give a shit at all, like why even talking to them?
Yeah.
That's just like a little bit of character building. Yeah, definitely. If you want to ask a question, I have Thoth. Great to have you here. We do these like improv one-shots where we spin a little randomizer wheel and pop over the screen. Actually, it's probably not worth it.
One of our more entertaining ones was Ratatouille, Dark Souls, and shit, what was the other one?
Dark Souls was in there?
It was Dark Souls. It was like a deep, gritty Ratatouille world with underground, the rats, the fucking rats.
Yeah, so we're just talking about how to like quickly improv up a world as a PC or as a DM, respectively, and like how to just adapt to what's going on with players. The whole like randomized improv is definitely like the ultimate, like you have this campaign and your players suddenly go off in some random direction that you did not at all plan for. So just being adaptive.
Yeah, it's super. What do you do when you're? Because I'm struggling with this. I volunteer with kids and have them play games. How do you get them to care? How do you get your PCs to care about the world and stuff? Because I remember there was one time where they had just kidnapped this little peach boy that turned one of them young, and the guy was like, I'm young, whatever. I was like, you have disadvantage on all of your attacks and everything. He's like, and they're like. And there's like some big general lady, and she was like, I'm gonna kill him if nobody has anything to say. Like, you're good being young? And he's like, and he's like, stab and just kill the one person who can turn him young again or turn him back to his normal age. I was like, man, dude, you really didn't. Like, I gave so many opportunities. He'll be back later. Don't worry. I'm not a total asshole. But yeah, how do you get your PCs to care about stuff? Which is important, especially for a one shot when it's like a quick one and done.
I mean, I think like the easiest one that I go for is, you know, any way you can tug on the heartstrings, which is usually people. Like, people sympathize with people. So for sure, like, you'll notice I throw close NPCs at you. Like, I'm just like, here's your daughter. You have a daughter, by the way. Here she is.
Which is great. Thank you. Obviously,
you like have a relationship. You're like in the same house together. So kind of like, that's a little different because I can just say that in our one shots. It's like, if you're doing, I mean, would you have the freedom to do that, or do you need to like?
I told the kids because my favorite part, like they gave me what they want, but I was like, this is also in part for me. So like, I love the role playing aspect. I was like, if you don't give me information, which they gave me some, then I will take the wheel, and if you don't like it, then just tell me, like in game or after game, and that's fine.
Gotcha.
But also they gave me like this smallest sliver of details about stuff, and from that I'm like, all right, whoosh, I'm gonna go and take that as far as I can.
Yeah. I think.
But then also the other issue with kids I have noticed is that, and I've heard others talk about it, they like to be, there is a certain level of an empowerment from being detached from caring about stuff and people. Like, that is,
yeah,
you don't want that vulnerability in a game, like when you already
sure.
have that in real life. So for sure, kids tend to gravitate towards, versus me, I want to be crushed. I don't think
like a
they do.
Fun aspect, which for sure I've gotten into so much more like in my adult life of D&D, of just like, you can be like emotionally vulnerable and like have these interesting connections and play out how they would go, and like how these different people would interact, because people interacting with people is like the most interesting thing. But I think, yeah, I just like, when I was younger, I was like, I don't know, I want to kill a cool monster, get cool loot, like maybe I want a hot D&D girlfriend or something, like just like
the dream.
I did care about characters, but only if they were like in the campaign for a long time. Yeah, I think, I don't know, that is kind of just a kid's thing. But if you can introduce something really sympathetic, was the little kid like that you introduced, the little Peach, were they like interacting much or sympathetic, or did something to help the players?
No, they were not supposed to be. No, they were not meant to be.
Oh, okay.
It
Then
was not a real baby.
Okay.
It's based on some Japanese lore. I don't need to get into it.
Gotcha.
It's complicated.
But I think if you can like introduce some way to make them sympathetic, then you can make them care all of a sudden by being like,
I was hoping that honestly his own self-preservation of not wanting to have disadvantage on attacks would be enough, but I guess not.
I think preserving others might be better than preserving yourself, or just getting something really cool for yourself.
Not being a baby is pretty cool.
I feel like especially with kids, you probably want to motivate them with a carrot instead of a stick, because otherwise they'll just like be like, I don't care, whatever. But if you're like, you want a friggin' dubstep gun, kid, then they'll be like, yo.
True. Well, they did respond well to getting a little. No, it wasn't in your campaign that I did with y'all. A little gelatinous cube in a jar, a little baby one. And once he like cracked the lid of the jar, I was like, "Hello, master, and what do you wish from me? I will do as you." Yeah, it's like this weird mental tele, and they love that. They love the hell out of that. So, that's my pro tip from doing DMing at work. Give them an animal or some sort of familiar, and that's
yeah.
And then kill it.
Yeah,
and
no,
then
exactly. Something that you can crush them with.
Yeah.
We have some questions from I Have Thought.
Yeah.
You prefer homebrew settings to official settings for long campaigns, and do you take inspiration from any prior D&D or media? Oh, Sergio's gonna love this one. It's gonna have a heyday.
Okay. So I've never read a single official D&D piece of media to like do a campaign. Which
like a
for sure
campaign. You've read the rule books and stuff, I thought.
Yeah, rule books for sure. But I've never gotten lore from D&D, official lore. If you've seen Dimension 20, they do very well homebrew settings where it's like completely batshit stuff, like a Candyland that's mixed with Game of Thrones, or like a teen drama, like modern fantasy. So I love that stuff and really gravitate towards unique settings, which is also why I love what we do, where we rolled up Ratatouille combined with Dark Souls. Like, it's delightful. I dislike being constrained. Like, if people like that, totally fine. More power to you. But it's also just so fulfilling for me creatively to do it, which is something I appreciate. And then there's also just a thing which I've heard, because I've never done, with pre-scripted, I guess, settings or lore. It's just a lot to keep track of, versus if it's in my brain, I can just like, okay, I said this bullshit, that's now canon, and that's at least easier for me to keep track of.
Wait, you did that? I see what you mean. So Insomnia, how much documentation? This is a longer running campaign that we played for a little while. How much like documentation did you have on that world? Again, a totally homebrew world, I think.
Yeah, it was cool, in my opinion, a dream world where it's super fantasy, and then modern day Boston with like no magic, and they were bringing like their powers from the dream world to the real world, and they were gonna have to like fight monsters that came from the dream world into the real world with like actual weapons from like a Glock and like a military grade baton and stun guns. What was the question, James?
Oh, like you document, like, so that wasn't. It just, at the end there, it sounded like you just do everything off the cuff. But even with homebrew, it's still like, do you have a good amount of documentation and like
days, weeks worth of me thinking hard about what I want, and then it's just like a bullet point. Honestly, no longer than a page is the lore I have behind the world. It's just like small details I need, like how nightmares and dreams work, what happens if you die in the dream world, just stuff I think will come up, and anything that I think, like the smallest of things that I think could influence the world that y'all might fuck with, like killing somebody in the dream world. Is that person attached to a person in the real world? Like, are they also dreaming?
Gotcha. Oh, interesting.
And do you kill? Yeah. So there's whatever I think is important. As for inspiration, maybe you asked, maybe you didn't. Honestly, I'm ranting. I apologize. I wanted to do for the kids that I volunteer with a instead of European setting, a Japanese setting. It's really Attack on Titan mixed with
giant monsters.
There are giant monsters, and one kid almost fucking insta died because he's like, I'm gonna shake out the forest. I'm like, all right, kid, you see a gigantic mixed with, what's that game where you climb stuff that I love and I can't remember?
Spider-Man.
True. No, you climb
Breath of
giant
the Wild.
monsters. Giant furry monsters.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Thank you. I love that game, and I couldn't remember it. It's like mixed with Ghost of Tsushima, which is Japanese setting. So, inspiration-wise, this is over the top, but I am. I bought
Studio
a ton
Ghibli, like you say.
Yes, I bought a art book from Studio Ghibli, architecture book, Japanese architecture, and a just Edo Japan inspired, or not inspired, just like literally history book. And that's how I, like, real world history is for sure influencing my D&D world, which I think as long as it's done in a respectful way is dope as hell, just like to teach people about stuff. Like I was learning about Shintoism and Torii gates and how they considered it like a gateway into a spiritual place, like a resting place for kami. And so now in my D&D setting, it's very difficult to pass through a Torii gate, which is like those red gates. But if you do, like you enter, like there's just like a kami chilling out there. It's like, oh, what's up? What you doing in here? How'd you get in? And so just having real world stuff, obviously it's impossible not to be influenced by real world stuff, but that's how I like to be heavily influenced to create a homebrew setting. In conclusion, I love homebrew. James, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I also DM too. It might not sound like it, but I dabble in the DM arts as well. There's one, I'm like a world builder by trade though. Like I really like having incredibly fleshed out worlds with like all sorts of like different groups of people who like and don't like each other, just like political situations.
Yeah, the Match Tech stuff was way more in depth than anything I've ever done.
Yeah, so I had this world this campaign that Sergio was a PC in, which was like a magic meets technology. Yeah, very creative. But essentially like this city where they've used the capabilities of magic to create these like highly advanced technological objects, and there's just like self-powering magic basically everywhere, and like flying things and all sorts of fancy, like what you would think of as modern day technology powered by magic with like a little magic spin on it. Anywhere from just like weapons like grenades and things like that to just like flying vehicles and stuff like that. And I think that document is like 40 pages or something.
Holy shit.
And it's just like, here's like these 7 factions in the city, like here's what they think of each other, here's like what happens if you defect from this one, like oh they really don't like these people, like here's what people from this one feel about this one, here's just a shit ton of like quests. Because I should say the intention for this world was not a like narrative path through a story. It was more of just like an open world. Like I wanted to give very much like an open world RPG feel, so I pretty much just wrote like 40 like templates of quests of just like the circus comes to town, like there's gonna be this really fancy magic circus visiting, like a couple blurbs, like depending on what level the players are at, like they can help like clear out some space so that it can happen, or go help with something bad that happens with it. But just like a little blurb like that, and just a ton of those all over the city, and like involving these different factions, so whatever the players want to go do, they have like something fun to do. There's like, I'm just nerding out about it now. And just like a big list of characters as well, just like quick little blurbs of characters, like here's this person, they are like a construct who was created, but constructs are not very like treated very well, so they use magic to make themselves look like another race, and like this is their kind of motivations, and this is the type of stuff they'd be doing, so I could just like have that in my back pocket. I can throw it at them whenever. But for sure, I feel like that's a world that was built up over a really long, not like super long, like a year, but like months of just like adding little details and like tweaking little things, and just like watching some piece of media and being like, oh man, that's a super interesting idea. Yeah, like what if there is like a tech religious organization that like worships technology in that kind of way, and like how would they interface with like a more traditional god worshipping church, stuff like that.
I also slow burn build my world like that, but not 40 fucking pages. That's wild.
I just wanted a ton of content for I think that was mostly because it was open world. Like I wanted so much content. So like if you guys wanted to go to like a zoo, like, hey, I already have a interesting plot involving one of these cool characters who I think are really compelling, like, and I'd love to introduce you to some compelling characters, like here's why they would be there, something like that.
Yeah, that's super cool. Do you think the whole open world, is that how you always want to do setting like a campaign? Because
hell
we
no.
talked about this. What'd you say?
Hell no, not after like setting up that world.
Okay, because I've told you I'm very much like I am a train and there's no track in front of me and I am putting it down as I go. Like you don't see anything until they like the people do it.
Yeah. I think
Which, like we talked about earlier, it's harder to set stuff up and pay it off that way. But
yeah. I think it's like it was my dream world to like make, or that's my like ideal dream world kind of, is like this open world. Like that's what I as a player would love, is just like a big open world, because I really like to make like highly motivated characters who don't really need a plot and like have things that they want. So like I'm fine, I would be happy, more than happy even, just to make
oh yeah,
go ahead.
I even consider like the player character plot, or like their backstory to be, because that's how we talk about this, that's how I love to create the story around plot lines, or so character backstory. Like that's also how I make the world. Like it's not going to exist until I hear about what the whole character's shtick is. Like Maggiangala, I have a lot of stuff like in the works for her, and yeah, like all the backstory you wrote, it would for sure come into play.
Yeah,
and so open world, at least for me, it would be harder to tie that stuff in.
I definitely, there's less planning. That's not the type of DM, because I guess it's not the type of player where like as a player I don't need I'll kind of like make the plot about myself or something, or like I'll go find things that are meaningful to my character, so I don't plan around that as much. I probably should though, like, but I'm sure like it's not like I've written this 40-page whatever like textbook Bible and now I'm going to follow it word for word, like said like so many times. Just if there is something interesting about your character, for example, Sergio played a koala, human turned himself into a koala
on accident
through technology, not through like, not just by being a druid, although he was also a druid.
As a result of that,
and he had this whole thing with like his wife and family back at home, and how he pretty much just left them like to go pursue science and come to this city that's the sort of beacon and hub of like technological advancement, and using
a Walter White claiming it's for the kids situation.
Yeah, he's just like a very selfish, not mean, but just completely inconsiderate guy who just cares.
He's very kind. He's just inconsiderate.
Just inconsiderate, and cares about science more than anything else, or like his own inventions and progress. So there was some plot points I wrote around that for sure. Like you wanted a way to contact your wife and like go talk to her and be like, hey honey, how's it going? So I had this whole thing where she was gonna be like, fuck you, Eustace, never talk to me again, me or the children. But yeah, just like, okay, now I'm gonna like come up with some kind of an interesting way to make that an incentive, or weave it in like a long-range communication device that exists in this world.
I want the session where Eustace gets custody of his kids and goes to court.
Yeah, so I think you always tweak based on of course, that's just like good D&D, is you'll want to tweak based on what the players are giving you.
How do you, because you said you don't, as a PC, you don't find it difficult to, in an open world setting, find the meaning in it and like make it about your character. How do you do that or is it even possible if your DM, I mean, you could talk to them, of course, that's step one. Always be in communication with your DM and PCs. But like, if the DM isn't like too into, like they don't have time maybe, how would you go about, if you can, like making it more about your character, make it more personal for them?
Yeah, so without the DM's help, is that right?
If it's even possible, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I've never, because I usually rely on the DM.
Like, so yeah, I try not to rely on the DM, I guess, for that. I'll just like casual. You can kind of force the DM to cooperate with you, I think, unless they like really are obstinate. Then I don't know exactly what you'll do, but if my character, just like one example is I had a character who was like this vampire, and they were this hunter vampire who just loved like the wild hunt and going and like killing really impressive large beasts, and drinking their blood as like that's just like their goal was to like kill more and more impressive game and then drink their blood and get stronger. So that was pretty much my character and their motivation, but they were in this world where there was like this big issue with like evil forces that had taken over and all this, just like the kind of stuff you'd expect from like a normal D&D campaign. But I think like you find a way to weave your character in and be like, look, my character is just going to try to find like very impressive big things to kill, and then maybe if the DM is particularly skillful, they'll be like, oh yeah, some NPC like drops a story, which the DM I had for this was good. Actually, I'll even explain beyond that. There's like a couple levels. One would be the DM's just like, oh, these are big monsters, or like, oh, here's something happening, someone will pay you a bunch of money and you can go kill some big monsters. Like I could just, if the DM really wasn't cooperating, I could be like, okay, like I'll help these people out because if I'm not evil, I like them and I can kill stuff after. Or maybe there's going to be some giant monsters to kill there because they're going to fight something really dangerous. Like you can kind of finagle your motivation if you need to, and I think it's pretty easy. Like if you RP it well, it's just like totally fine. They're like, oh gosh, this god is gonna blow everything up, and I'm like, oh, god blowing things up, like there must be some big monsters there. Just like, not that that was my character's personality, but that's pretty much like, you can always weave it like that. Or the DM can be nice to you and like have some person in the tavern give you like a rumor. Like I would actively go like and roll investigation, like I'm gonna go to a library and read about impressive like mythological monsters and where to find them or how to summon them, or like just like try to go find the most impressive beasts that live in the area. And that's just like a free prompt for a skillful DM to be like, oh yeah, right over here in this dimension that they have like a portal to inside the city, like the center of the city, like yeah, this dimension's known for having like giant monsters. And so then also, wow, what a coincidence that happens to be the exact place that the PCs are going to go like stop some ritual that's happening there or something. So like that's a really, if you have a DM who can even just like take a prompt like that. Finally, this is why I love the open world. If you have like a really creative DM, then we straight up just like got a side quest where I like went to a library and I was reading about like the most impressive monsters. There was this other plane that existed in the world filled with just like massive, just like pretty normal animals, but just on like a huge scale. So it'd just be like a giant boar that's like 20 stories tall, just like these huge monsters roaming. And so I was like, yo, that's sick, I want to go there and kill some cool stuff. And then essentially like the DM came up with a reason that could make sense for the quest and like a whole party to be motivated to go there. And so we did that and like celebrated that uniqueness about my character, which I think like that's going above and beyond if you're like really flexible with your campaign and world and can like tailor something to specifically fit a character. But even if that doesn't happen, yeah, you can always kind of, can you think of a character you couldn't motivate? That could be like a fun game. A character who you wouldn't be able to get to go along with a DM, or like have you had kids or something who have a character that's like
just don't want to listen to the DM?
Don't, like the DM has made this story and you maybe, you know, even with the best intentions, you've made this character like ahead of time and you're like, this is my character, they have this really compelling thing about them, like here's what they care about or something, and like that would be impossible for a DM to work with.
No, I that has not happened. I would love for that to happen because that shows at least some level of like grit and care and interest more often.
Oh, that hasn't happened with the kids. Like they don't.
The only time they have a backstory, it's like it's super angsty and like I want to kill everybody, and I'm like, all right, kid, I'm at work. This is a hospital. Can't do that. And so I will twist it. Man, trying to make kids care that want to be bloodthirsty. Hard, very difficult. That wasn't the question though. Well, I guess that is like, that's a goal, I guess.
If they're bloodthirsty? Yeah, and they don't care about anything.
And that I don't want to achieve and would be difficult because I'm at work and I can't really do that. Does that count? Does this count as your?
Yeah, they're just like a psycho murderer. Well, what is your plot in the world?
Well, the one at work I do because it's at a hospital. Keep it all PG. It's Candyland.
Yeah, but like, is there a plot or no?
It changes whatever I'm feeling.
Oh, but then that's pretty easy to work with, right? Even if they're psycho murderer, you just like give them something to go try to murder and fail at, right?
It's hard.
Discover the power of friendship along the way.
The one time I got close, it was like a really stupid. This sounds weird.
Just give them someone immortal.
Then they just lose.
Give them someone really friendly who refuses to fight them because they're so much better than them.
I tried that, and then they're like, "Wait, we have to go to bed in 30 minutes. Let's just fucking kill them." And then they did because there was a time crunch. Like they were thinking about not killing the guy who they were sent to kill, but then they're like, "Oh, never mind. We're in a hurry here. Let's just get this shit over with."
Wait, what? That's not immortal. What are you talking about?
They were part of a kingdom that was doing super poorly because they have a shitty king, and the king was like an asshole to them and super ignorant and dumb, and like, oh, go kill this carrot king.
You're trying to teach them about
and then they met the
not listening to
yeah, exactly. Some deep moral lessons here about independence and not always trusting adults or people in power. And then they met the carrot king, who's like, yes, I understand what you are here to do, but and like this is why I'm awake, or not this is why, like just through seeing shit they see, like his kids are there and he's like, oh yes, hello, like they're spying on him and how great a king he is, and they were like on the verge of not murdering him, and then the nurses came in, they're like, we got 30 more minutes, guys, and they're like, shit. I unsheathed my blade and I stabbed the carrot man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, then not at all. But I mean, it sounded like those kids were pretty compelled to begin with, so that doesn't really seem like an issue.
Having no interest?
Yeah, I was saying like if all they want to do is just kill whoever's around them or something like that, and they just won't even like go on a quest, so they don't care. I was gonna say you could introduce an immortal character who won't even bother fighting them, like just something that like they have to grapple with, like this person who like they keep stabbing them, they're like, doesn't hurt, also like I'm not even gonna fight back, you're not worth it, just like see what they do.
Like we talked about earlier, the emotionality of it I feel like is what would do it more than just like immortal and then you die or something. Because one time I did have that, or I don't know, if you're like trying to stab an immortal person, I feel like that would be the result.
No, they don't care. That's what I was saying. The immortal person's like, I won't even bother with you. You're not worth it. I think you can always throw something compelling at your... But that's just like, the worse the PC, the better the DM has to be, I think.
Yeah, the one time I did have like murder hobo situation, which was the first time I ever DM'd.
Yeah.
I think I've told you about this. It was they like found a group of kobolds who I described as being like really weak and like childish, and they stole their shit and killed them. And there was just like a scene of like their parents coming and like screaming, Billy, Bobby, no, and them driving away, which is whatever. But then one of them is like the god is a warlock for the god of revenge. Like that was what he chose. And the god was like, yes, I see what you have done here, and just full disclosure, I have given them my powers as well, and they will be coming for you. And it was just like, and also I am removing your abilities for the next, until you change how you act. Which is one, me being kind of a dick, and like, hey, stop being a dick. But then also it's like, you are literally like the god of revenge is what you chose. If you go and kill people needlessly.
What if they're just evil?
I
guess it's less. I was gonna say like, okay, what if they were like, I worship the god of revenge because I'm down with revenge. I go around and kill people because I want them to try to get revenge. Like I want their loved ones to try to get revenge on me. Like this is exactly, I'm giving you revenge, god of revenge.
Would the god of revenge be
what else does the god of revenge want besides revenge? It's good for, it's like the god of death getting mad at you for killing people.
I don't know if that's a one-to-one example there, James. What did they say?
I think stabbiness can come from an often mistaken belief that the player can make a better story than the DM has envisioned, and they try to express it by derailing the current storyline. Never had a surefire solution, just have to be more adaptive.
Yeah, I wonder if part of it also is just like boredom. I don't know. D&D, in my opinion, because there's like plenty of other games that are better at being like stabby, like better systems. So it's maybe have them play a separate game and get their bloodlust out, and then be like, all right, now for role play.
Yeah, I think kind of.
Although you like combat way more than I do.
Oh, I like combat a lot. My thought is like, they keep stabby, like give some town guards who are way stronger and like beat their ass or something.
Yeah,
and then like throw them in a jail cell. Maybe they just like use non-lethal damage and throw them in a jail cell, and like now they have to grapple with their actions. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe they'll keep stabbying, but yeah. I mean, I guess because it's a, at least my DMing style, I think it's a collaborative plot written by the players and the DM. But yeah, if you have like a plot as the DM, I don't know, because you could end up with like all true evil alignment characters, and then it probably won't, your plot might not make very much sense if it's like, go save this hungry town.
That's something I would love to discuss in like a session 0. Be like, what do you guys want from this? If you do want to be crazy murder people, that's fine, but like, I want to know ahead of time so that I don't plan a world where y'all are like a super empathetic setting where everything's all
maybe that's why
chill.
I make these open worlds, because then like you can be whatever the hell you want. Because
yeah.
I like yeah, like it's just I have characters with motivations and events that can happen, but other than that, it's like you could just show up to one of these quests, like setting up the circus or whatever, and just like murder everyone, and it's like I didn't really have, like, that's fine, like that's this is just an event that's gonna happen one way or another, and the players can kind of do whatever, make whatever they will out of it.
Like that one little goblin baby in the burning fire that was, I guess, irrelevant, but my character's like, fuck you, I'm going in that fire.
Yeah, there was
taking
this
that baby.
little, so the city is surrounded by this incredibly deep gorge that's always covered in a really thick cloud cover. And so it's like pitch black down there, and all sorts of terrifying life, and only the stuff that can survive down there has grown. And there's like this little village of goblins that are barely making it by, and they've stolen something highly valuable, a magical technical weapon from the city, and this PC amongst others were sent to go retrieve it. Yeah, so I like pretty much that was the quest. Like that is, it ends there. You've gone to go retrieve it, and here's this town that exists, and here's how the goblins act. And there's like a mayor and stuff like that who will lie to you when you first get there. But like whatever you chose to do, which I think was murder a lot of people, at first be cordial. I guess he attacked you.
I'm pretty sure they started it.
Oh yeah, their little ninjas fell out of the ceiling.
Yeah, I think Hugh was very much, all of the characters I play will rarely resort to violence first.
Yeah, but then you guys murdered all of them.
I don't love combat that much.
Once
they fucking attack. Yeah, my characters also aren't pushovers.
You're taking their lifeline here to survive. So, you know, tough decisions. Yeah. Or
not that tough.
Tough impasses. Sorry, not tough decisions.
Do it again. I have
just
no regrets.
Anyway, so they like murdered them all, at least the ones that were fighting, and then
killed, not murder when they're actively attacking you as well.
Killed, murdered. I don't know. Was it really even a close fight?
I think it was hard.
No, I think actually it was kind of close. You set the building on fire, not you personally. And then there was a baby in the burning building, child of the now dead mayor. And then you saved the baby, and then that was not intended.
I think I tried saving him too, the mayor, and he just fucking died like a chump. So
can't remember. He might be no, he's definitely dead.
I mean, I think he died, but I think I tried saving him.
Yeah, no. I think you had the intention to save him, but then you were like, the building's gonna burn down soon. He's too heavy.
Oh yeah, I was like, baby or old man who's dying. Yeah, of course when she's a fucking baby.
Yeah, and like they maybe could have like negotiated with the goblins or done this other stuff, but I think like trying to murder them, kill.
I think I tried.
Kill them. Yeah, no, you guys did try. Again, it was also Adriana spoke Goblish, but it didn't really it didn't help.
Yeah.
Besides cluing you off that something fishy might have been going on. Yeah, and then you saved the baby and then you left with the baby, which is not a plot point I envisioned, but these things happen, and then now you have a baby.
You just have a baby that I need to go find a home for, and I want to.
Yeah.
That's honestly, that's next step. Find a baby, dethrone the government that's there. Down with magic.
How about... Wait, the government? No, it's not the government, right? You just don't like the guild.
I don't like the guild, correct?
I really don't like the adventuring guild. You just don't like nicely laid out hierarchical structures.
It's suspicious. They're suspicious. At this point, I've forgotten why. It's been a while since we last played, but I remember being very suspicious.
You didn't like how they had like tiers? Was that not why?
Oh yeah, it's like some fucking weird marketing scheme where you gotta.
Yeah, you think it's like they have like higher membership levels. Anyway.
Like the fucking S tier gold.
Did you have thoughts on
black diamond?
The stabbiness and derailing story? I guess you talked about it a bit. And we will be wrapping up here soon, just by the way, everyone, but we'll be back. We got 3 streams a week.
If you haven't already, feel free to follow or etc. Also, I can drop a Discord link if anybody wants to join.
Yeah, if you want to hop into our Discord.
There is I love the collaborative part of D&D. That's my favorite bit. Like I said before, backstory influencing it. And again, honestly, well, no, stabbiness is different from like wanting to take it any other way. Oh, we're weird and tiny now. Oh,
Is it temporary?
Yeah, I guess what I've already said, try to empathetic bits to make them less stabby, and then like James said, hit them where it hurts, I guess, or show them some sort of lesson. But other than that, I don't know. And I guess same answers for getting people to care, like some sort of empathetic human connection, or make a stupid funny character that they love, or a familiar. Honestly, familiar is the number one.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost just like keep trying things until something works.
Yeah. Or if they do just want to be chaos monsters, I guess that's an option too.
Yeah, like you can.
If you're fine DMing for that, but if you hate that, then let's talk
you could
about
give them an NPC. Yeah, I feel like it's really coming up with creative solutions. So like immortal person who won't even bother fighting them, and then like now they have to deal with that. Or some person who's like, yeah, I love murder, let's go kill a bunch of people, and they're like really like fun and enthusiastic, and maybe they like. Hopefully the players will, even if they murder that person, then yeah, you probably, if they literally just stab everything that moves, then you might need.
They need help. They need.
I mean, if they want to play a villain, they want to play a villain. I'm trying to think if you could like. Yeah, 'cause even if you like have some town guards that are like, no, Bill, you were at my whatever, married my daughter, oh, blah blah blah. Like, they don't care about people though. They don't care.
The One Dimension 20 show you've seen part of, where it was like the all villain squad. I haven't seen it, but I just watched behind the scenes, and there's like a scene of Brennan being like, wow, I was really expecting this to be like an end all be all like fight from all those 6 PC villains, but they're like, oh, we're a family now. It's like, I was not expecting that shit in the slightest. I don't know what that means or what my point was there, but
I think that's probably just attests to like those are good players.
Is that a sign of a good player?
That they shock their DM? Probably.
No. To go to like caring and.
I think if they made like
even when you're playing a villain,
a convincing, genuine connection. No, they're not. Their villains are like have personalities. Very strong
but they
personalities.
were still all like the whole main thing was that they are all villains.
Yeah, but that it's like if you're just like born as a giant hideous monster who exists in this, like it was just like that was more just their setting.
Yes. So my question is it is a good player a like good player?
What?
Is it like
horrible.
good?
What does that mean?
Is a good PC like a lawful good character? Like
but they definitely weren't lawful good.
Or not lawful, chaotic.
They were complex characters.
A good alignment.
A good PC has a complex character. I think it's the simple. If you need to ask yourself, like, is this a good character I'm making? Like, am I being a good PC with this? Am I gonna make an engaging story? Just like ask, is your character complex? Like,
are they a divorcee koala dad?
Yeah, do they have like contrasting elements? He was very nice to new people he meets, but abandoned his wife and kids because he loves science too much. Versus like, they weren't just playing like, oh, the villain, oh, I'm an evil villain. They were like, oh, they're villains, but they just exist, like this is the world that they exist in, but they, of course they still have family and friends and things like that and people they care about. They just also kill doers of good and like people who threaten their way of life and stuff like that.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Anything else to add, James? Any questions, anybody?
When in doubt, just think of like this is what I did in the world Sergio was DMing. I had this character who's like this incredibly do-good paladin, will help basically anyone who asks for help or doesn't ask for help even. They will just sprint to immediately jump in front of any like weapon or bullet to protect people. And then I was like, all right, now how do I complicate that? So then they also have like, well, they have there's basically like two things that will make them not behave in a incredibly lawful good, like annoyingly Superman-esque way of like, oh, I'll protect everyone. The two things are that they have like a pet dragon who murdered their family that they now keep as a pet to remember their family. And if anyone touches them, they'll murder the hell out of them and curse them out and like just be horrible. And then they also are like cripplingly chemically addicted to this fairy dust drug in the world. And so like they need to get their fix of it or they will literally like physiologically be totally just like not with it and like incredibly irritable and violent and just like dangerous to the people around them. So they'll just like, if someone takes their stuff, they'll like, you know, kill them or beat them up over it or do all sorts of stuff and have like a complete character shift because like that's the thing that they can't, and like they feel terrible about it because they want to be such a good person, but like that's the thing that they can't not be. So just like some just like, hey, yeah, it's this archetype, but then like I've thrown this wrench into it. I think it's a good way.
Yeah, I also just love that it was an actual mechanical thing, the pixie dust and going through withdrawals and all that. And I love that a character who is far smaller than you took it and then had to do like saves to not like collapse and die, which gets into Killer Cam 22's questions. How do you guys do your death saves? I followed the traditional way, I guess, where it's like 3 failed, you die, 3 below a 10, you're dead, 3 above a 10, and it is you are back at 0 HP. I think you're still knocked out. I think that's what the rule is. And if you get a nat 20 or nat 1, that counts as 2 fails or 2 saves. That's how I do it. James, any? I do have thoughts about if you actually die. I have thoughts about if you actually die in a world that I feel strongly about. But James, for death saves.
I've done a couple. I've done like that type of system. Are the death saves persistent in that system you were describing?
What do you mean persistent?
If you roll 2 fails, the next time you die, you still have 2 fails. That's, I think,
oh fuck no.
That's the usual system. I think that's the official way, is you keep your death rolls. So I usually play that way. So you
it also makes no sense.
No, like your character has had like, this is like permanent lasting damage. They had this like almost death experience. Next time they will not be so resilient to. Yeah, I think I have thought that is the way. A nat 20 you instantly 20? Stabilize.
Oh, I've been a real asshole to my player.
But you keep your deaths, like you keep the death saves. There's a section on the standard character sheet to like tick off your 3 death saves.
I thought that was until you're like it goes away. I should look in. I also don't care, and I will probably continue to do it my way because that's how I like doing it.
But for a long running world, I think it adds a lot of lasting danger instead of just like, oh, this is a one-off threat. I roll and I either make it or I don't.
I think it depends on the kind of world, the kind of setting that you want, because there is for sure a place where there is lasting damage to your character, and where it like builds up over time and you see negative effects for being hurt. But I feel like for most adventures that I want, I like my characters to feel
you're definitely not building up lasting damage or anything. It's not like they get any stat.
No, yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, that is, to me, that is an equivalent. Like, having those saved up death saves is the equivalent to having like different mechanical effects of being injured gives you some negative effects. I'm fine with like the hero fantasy of you're a powerful thing until shit goes really badly. It goes really awry.
I think it's I disagree that that's a dichotomy, but because you're not, there's still just as much of a hero. It's just like you can't always be basically dying. You can't always be like essentially dying, because in this system you could literally almost die 20 times in one day and it would have no effect at all, which does, like, for sure that makes death feel less scary and a little like it's not like some big threat that's always looming or like has any real impact unless you actually die. But
yeah, I think that just depends on the world that you want. I'm more than fine with that for me. Yeah, thanks, Streamlines. You've been rolling your players' death saves.
Yeah, that's kind of
like nice. For them. I'm too fucking scared to do that in case I roll poorly and they're like, "Fuck you, Sergio, you idiot." But hey, yeah, I do see why that would add tension to them. Yeah, that's cool.
Very dramatic.
Yeah, I've also been getting into for our streams.
You don't show them the roll? Do you ever fudge it?
Oh wow!
Don't worry,
then
they're not watching.
You just like describe it. Then you describe what happens without them knowing the numbers. That's terrifying.
Do you use the roll? Don't worry, they won't know. No, I'm asking Killer Cam.
Okay.
To whoever, if they can't see it, I mean.
Oh, all right. Are you fine with me getting into what happens if they fail, if they fully die?
Yeah, I think this can be our last note of the stream.
Yes. My dream. I've yet to kill a player. One day though. Especially if they're like some sort of tiefling, like Gab's old character who was a tiefling and had a backstory of not knowing who one of the parents was. I was wanting to know, or like if they were to die in battle, they would go to hell, and it would be like a one-on-one with mommy or daddy and being like, "What's up? We need to talk," and just like a whole backstory of how they get back to the world. And there would be a consequence. It's not just like there's nothing wrong. It would be some sort of curse. They would have to take some like negative version of some warlock abilities that fucks them, or that they have to like work to fix or get rid of, some sort of curse or some sort of sacrifice. You'd be like, "You want out? Well, I'm gonna need something from you," whether that be your sibling, mom. Or yeah, I know, great mom of the year. Yeah. And just, I don't know.
That's pretty sick.
Death does not, in D&D, death does not have to be the end, and it could add to the story, and that's just that's what I'm here for. Definitely. For everything mechanically to add and add weight. Yeah.
Although that's if you want you want a world that has all the same characters, which is just like a different type of.
What do you mean same characters?
Yeah. Wait, what?
What do you mean same characters?
Like that character didn't die. How many times could that character die?
Oh, it's a one-time thing.
Okay. Yeah, because my one worry would be like
it loses its intrigue after the first time.
Yeah, like people won't really care about dying. I definitely like, because I've played in a campaign where it was always like we had PC deaths every 3 campaigns, and during a really tough boss battle, like almost total party kills, or like several die, or like, you know, just like multiple deaths. So I've seen how good that can be, because it's like you're so in it for the combat, because it's like, if I fuck this up, I will literally have to go make a new character and all this story and connections are gone. So like it's so intense to have like a meaningful death system, which for sure in the open world was just like, if you fucking die, you're dead.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it depends on what you're trying to tell and all that.
Yeah, I definitely just like the danger of like a world where the players need to be super careful, and like I think because D&D can feel like, oh, it's just a game, nonchalant, whatever, like, which is fine sometimes, but I think I really like when every decision feels really meaningful. Like you need to think about what you're doing. If you go take on an enemy who's too strong or do something stupid in combat, then like there's significant repercussions.
Yeah, seeing the chat, the only time I'm afraid of killing off a player,
oh yeah, I see this. Yeah,
the only time I'm worried about killing off a player is when it's like in a stupid encounter where it's just like a bunch of shitty unlucky rolls and they should have won, and it's like, because I care more about story stuff, and this is just, I'm a different type of DM than everybody, because everybody is a unique special flower. like the story more of it. So if I kill it, like it's like two little kobolds roll up and roll really well and crit a bunch of times on these like powerful heroes, and my heroes keep missing. Like that's lame as hell for that to be the way that they go out. Like you can try to like fluff it up and give them an epic last like word, but there's no way anything they say could be like, yes, you little shitty kobolds, you have bested me, I respect you.
Has that ever happened?
No, but it's something I
that
think
would
about.
happen. That's my.
It is statistically possible to happen.
But I think
It's also just
might
hard to CR. Like CR is all BS and totally is not that great. So like you could be like, oh, this is gonna be a fine, easy little thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I fudged the stats. I don't fudge the like killing the character. I think I've realized sooner than when they're going to die. Or you can introduce some other Deus Ex Machina to save them. I'm trying to think. Yeah, but like, cause
I'm just saying I would hate it. Yeah, I'm not saying I would just let it happen.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of campaigns. Yeah, usually deaths only really happen during big, because bosses are just strong enough to kill you. I feel like most encounters aren't strong enough to kill you. I don't know if you could die to some kobolds. If you have like a party of people.
All right, watch yourself. Fucking next week when we stream on Tuesdays.
If you're level 1,
5:30 CST,
a
like bajillion kobolds will attack you.
I do like this idea of challenging the Avatar of Death, especially as a role play. I feel like it's kind of fun if they get to like talk to Death and be like, look.
This gives me Adventure Time vibes when I think Jake goes to it's like a rock concert with
between you and me, Death. You let me out of here. You're a cool guy.
I've also just been wanting to have like a magical gambling session where you're like betting bits of your life and your memory and like your relationships, and like you're putting that stuff on the line.
Yeah, that would have been great for my gambler last on Tuesday.
Yeah, but that's one of the options in our wheel, magical gambling. So I'm saving that shit.
Okay.
Stay tuned, guys. 5:30 Tuesday CST PM. I said all of that out of order. We'll be doing a one shot.
And our next stream actually, it's happening
is to Saturday.
Saturday.
AI Dungeon at 8 p.m. CST, where AI Dungeon is our weird, shitty DM for us, and we do fun voices and be characters. We
collaborate and also fight against an AI.
Yeah, because it's honestly pretty wacky.
We might have images.
Do we have images?
We might have images this Saturday.
We might, depending on if we upgrade to AI Dungeon.
AI generated images of what we're DMing.
If that sounds interesting, please follow, subscribe, etc. It helps us out. We appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for chatting today. We appreciate the heck out of you. James, you got anything you want to add?
Kill them. Each and every they come in.
Kill every player.
Tell them to come up with this really good character, a lot of backstory. Tell them it's going to be really RP heavy. They come in, kill them, and then do it again. Yeah. You can do it at least twice before they figure it out.
Fucking put them in their place. Show them who's boss. If you took anything away from today's stream, that's it. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great day and a wonderful life. See you next time.
One last thing. By the way, if you come on those Tuesday streams, you can just like type shit in chat and then we'll do it in the campaign to the best of our ability.
Like, top left of the screen, there's like an influence the game, and
boom,
you, like
out.
one time.
Boom.
Yeah, people have already. Yeah. Oh wow, that was easy. That was an easy swap. Good job, James.
Yeah, no, look at us go.
Yeah.
Now we're here. Oh gosh.
Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff to either help us or fuck with us. Your choice, completely.
All right. Thanks for coming out, everybody.
Bye.
We love you. Peace.